Hello and welcome back. Once again, it's time for the Golden Age of DC Comics 365 Days, where I take this well-loved hardcover coffee table book given to me by one of my best friends about 2 decades ago. This has been surfing my coffee table ever since. And this is a 2004 Abrahams press publication. This is curated and written by Jeff Daniels, Les Daniels, Chip Kidd, and Jeff Spear. And there's a link in the description to the Amazon page where you can pick up your own copy at a decent price. It will look great on your coffee table, and it makes a great present. I know. And the Golden Age of DC Comics runs from 1938 to 1955. And we're going to use this book for its intended purpose, which is to open a page a day. We're going to look at today's date. We're going to look at some comic book art from the Golden Age. We're going to read the blurb, and then we're going to talk about comic books. And we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I'm blessed and grateful that you're here having this comic book shop style conversation with me right now, and I'm very blessed. And as I like to take the opening of the show, and what goes great with a coffee table book and coffee table talk? A great cup of coffee. Hold on. Let me wet my whistle with some freshly roasted and brewed Tanzanian peaberry. I need my escapism, and I call this the escapism caveat. Listen, this is just an opinion. In my humble opinion, activism is very important. The world needs help, and the activists are very well intended and concerned and want to do the best thing for the world. But also, activists sometimes act like bullies lately, and they've been encroaching in spaces where they maybe need to back off of. Escapism, it's needed because we really need to forget about the world's worries just for a few minutes. In our comic books, in our art, in our cinema, in our sports, they're there to give us a respite from the world's problems. They spirit us away to another place where we can be part of the team. We can lose ourselves in the game. We can be a superhero. We can be a space pirate. We can be a motorcycle racer. We can be fighting gangsters. We can be in a romance. This is the point of escapism, is so we can forget about the world's problems. But the activists lately they have their space, they have their place. But do they need to be in everything? Do they need to be coming into fandoms and telling the fandoms how to behave and what to feel and how to think? All this lecturing, all this screeching and preaching has given me compassion fatigue. So now at this point, it's easier for me to ignore the activists and forget about their important messages, because they're really, it's lecturing. And who reads a comic book to be lectured? Why do we read a comic book? We read it to be part of a fantastic adventure. And you know what? Never agree to let a bully you out of your fandom. And that's all I got to say about the escapism caveat. So let's open this book to today's date. Let's look at some art. Let's talk about comic books. Let's do this. And today is July the 5th. And we are talking about Hop Harrigan, America's Ace of the Airwaves. It's story and art by John L. Blummer from All American Comics number 50, June of 1943, smack dab in the middle of World War II. Hop Harrigan, America's Ace of the Airways, got his start in 1939. In the first issue of All American Comics, his career really took off when the United States entered World War II and aviation took on a new importance. Hop got a late afternoon radio show that ran each weekday from 1942 to 1948, and he had his own movie serial in 1946. Yet in the comic book they shared, he always played second fiddle to the less conventional but more colorful Green Lantern. And let's look at Hop Harrigan once again. And he's punching out a bad guy. Whap! You see the speed lines. You see the star there. The guy just got punched in the face. It's the follow through. So that's a strong position to have a punch thrown in a static image, such as a comic book panel. And that's Hop Harrigan. That's basically all we have for today. So I call this a slow news day. So on slow news days, I like to talk about the themes of the show. And one of the themes of the show has been the ages of comic books, such as the Golden Age of DC Comics, which runs from 1938 to 1955. The Silver Age runs from 1956 to 1970. The Bronze Age, I'm a Bronze Age baby, goes from 1970 to 1985. And the Copper Age begins in 1985. Now, some say that the Copper Age ends in 1992 with Image Comics. Great place to start, to end it. I think it's a little too short. And I feel with the 15 years of the Silver and Bronze Age, that the Copper Age could actually go 15 years. I've got a great standard and resource in the Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide. This is the most current edition. This is a great edition for any comic book fan to have. It's a good resource. This is it's an annual publication. And it's where we get our comic book value from. Look at the gradings up top, and basic comic book prices of how valuable is my collection. You can find out right here in this comic book, and RTFM. Read the manual; it's right here. And in this book, we have a glossary, which has a great standard and great definition of the different ages. Now, according to Overstreet, there are a few different ages. The Pioneer Age is from the 1500s, the invention of the print press, to 1828. Next comes the Victorian Age from 1828 to 1883. The Platinum Age from 1883 to 1938. The Golden Age of comics, beginning with Action Comics #1, the first appearance of Superman. The Golden Age runs they claim, from 1938 to 1945. Then comes the Atom Age, ATOM, from 1946 to 1956. And that's after the atom bomb. The Silver Age, and after the Comics Code Authority seal of approval in 1955, we have the Silver Age, beginning in 1956 with Showcase #4 and the debut of the Silver Age Flash, Barry Allen. This runs from 1956 to 1970. They claim they say the Bronze Age runs from 1970 until 1984. Now, they say the Copper Age runs from 84 to 1992, and that the Modern Age goes from 1992 until now. I am using my own noodle and my own synthesis. I call it Sully's Synthesis and Suggestion. That's me, Sully. Hi. Your friend, Eric O'Sullivan. I say that the Golden Age runs from 1938 to 1955. And the Comic Books Code of Authority of Seal, and the Silver Age, 56 to 70, the Bronze Age, 70 to 85, and I feel the Copper Age goes from 1985 until 2000. I've mentioned it a couple of shows before about my idea of the Copper Age. Today I want to focus on what I refer to as the Millennium Age. No one else talks about this. This is my idea. I feel there's a millennium age between 2000 and 2015. And once again, that's a 15-year age. This fits with the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, my definition of the Copper Age, and an age of publication where superhero comics were back. There was Wildstorm, there was DC, there was Marvel, and unfortunately 9/11 happens. So it's a great place we have definitely left the 20th century. We are now in the 21st century. We're in a new millennium We're in a new age. We have more colors, literally, on the page. We have blur effects, digital effects. We're entering the age of digital comic books. And by 2008, that's when Iron Man 1 comes out by Jon Favreau, starring Robert Downey Jr., which begins the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that's... So all of these comic books in this age, this millennium age, it was a great time to be a comic book fan. I had a second renaissance. I was coming back from a hiatus. I kind of got off the comic books about 1995 or 6 or so, right before the Great Implosion, which was the speculator implosion, where that's a source for another day. We're going to talk about that on another day. The great comics implosion of the late 90s, with the speculator market, it was like the Beanie Baby craze, where it was like, oh wow, we bought all this stuff and now is it worthless or not? Well, in the late 90s, we started getting quality comic book stories again, quality superhero stories, and this went on until about 2015. So I see a distinct age. This is, like, as I said, this is my suggestion and my synthesis of everything that I've learned about the ages of comics, and it's my interpretation. And I would love to have more conversation about this with other comic book people. So join in the conversation. Put it in the comment section. Invite me on a live stream. Let's talk more about this. But I see a distinct change in publication at 2015 for many cultural reasons. We'll get into the modern age, or actually I call it the post-modern age, on another slow news day. But today, I'm talking about the millennium age. And there was just so much going on, so many good stories. And there was what I call my second renaissance as a comic book fan. I had taken a hiatus, and I came back in 2001 with 2 comic books. It was Green Lantern, and it was New X-Men by Grant Morrison, which blew my mind, and I thought was such a great comic book. I also had a shared collection with one of my best friends, and we basically, we're enabling each other with comic books for a couple of years. And I got to catch up on the late 90s and enjoy being a weekly buyer. Once again, I would go every Wednesday to the comic book store for the new releases. Actually, a quick... What happened for me, I was a pack-a-day smoker for 13 years, cigarette smoker. And I had cold turkey given them up. By the deal I made with myself was, at that time, cigarettes were about $5 to $6 a pack. So 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 6 is 42. If I was spending that much a week on cigarettes, I could spend that much a week on new comic books and also trade paperbacks, anything I wanted at the comic book store. That was the bargain I made with myself, and I kept to that. I haven't had a cigarette since. I haven't had a puff or a drag. I will still have dreams about smoking a cigarette, and I will wake up feeling guilty and convinced I can smell them on my fingertips. But yeah, that was my bargain. I said, I could spend about $40 a week on new funny books, and I did that until 2017, 2018, and the unfortunate DC direction of Heroes in Crisis by Tom King. I did not spit on my rug. I didn't do that. No, I wouldn't. But yeah, so that is what I consider the millennium age, and I would love to have more conversation about the ages of comic books, about the current age that we're in. I do not see it lasting 40 years, since I just find that to be a little, I don't even see it lasting 30 years from 92 until now. I don't see that. I don't accept that. I think there can be more structure, and I would love to be able to contribute to these standards. I would. I love it. I love talking about comic books, and we're going to be talking about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, and we'll find out who we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. We make daily content here. We talk about cooking, spirituality, bunnies having their breakfast in the morning, planets in the sky, and comic books. General hijinks and hot takes occasionally. Thank you so very much for tuning in. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And we will see you in the funny pages tomorrow. Cheers. Bye-bye.